on November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an
I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept.
I'm fighting Gervonta Davis on Netflix. Let's go.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference.
Fight world has been shaken to its core. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis is officially set for November 14th on Netflix. Yes, you read that right. A YouTube star turned boxer stepping into the ring with one of boxing's pound-for-pound kings. The announcement has ignited a firestorm of reactions from fighters, legends, promoters, and fans alike. Some are calling it genius, others are calling it a disgrace. But no matter which side you're on, one thing is certain. This is the matchup everyone is talking about. Stick around, because what we've uncovered might just change the way you see this fight. And don't forget, if you're passionate about combat sports and want the latest updates, make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss a beat.
I'm fighting Gervonta Davis on Netflix. Let's go. People think that he could actually beat me, and people think he could outbox me, and he's so powerful.
The announcement came loud and clear. Ryan Garcia wasted no time firing back after Jake Paul revealed his plans. Ryan's response wasn't just heated, it was personal. According to him, this entire situation is an insult to boxing itself. For Garcia, fighters dedicate their lives to the craft, putting in years of sacrifice, while gimmick fights like this cheapen the sport's integrity. Ryan dug deeper into the issue, explaining that boxing was never meant to be a circus to draw casual fans with flashy names. He pointed out that Tank Davis, one of the most respected boxers of his generation, should be chasing real competition, not spectacle-driven bouts. Garcia's frustration was rooted in the idea that the sport deserves better than headline-grabbing clashes designed only to cash in on pay-per-views. This reaction set the tone for how controversial the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis announcement would become. Some see it as a business opportunity, while others, like Garcia, argue it's a disrespectful distraction from true boxing.
Bro, that's in disgrace of a fight.
Yeah.
You know it. Just like Mike Tyson, low-key was a disgrace, but we accepted it. But
Yeah.
he was 60 years old. I mean,
Right.
the casuals don't see
Enter
the
Daniel
weight
Cormier,
difference. They see
a
Jake
legend
Paul
from the UFC,
Gervonta
who
Davis.
viewed things
And
through a
if
different
Gervonta
lens.
Davis doesn't
Unlike
Jake
the
Paul,
critics
they're
who
gonna think
slammed
Jake
the
Paul
matchup as a
is some
disgrace,
pound-for-pound champion type of
Cormier
fighter.
argued that this fight
Gervonta
wasn't
Davis
automatically
really,
unfair.
He's actually really
In his
small.
breakdown,
Like when I fought him,
Jake
he's
Paul
small.
clearly holds the
So I just
advantage
think
in
he's a very-
size, while Gervonta Davis holds the advantage in skill. That combination, in his opinion, makes the fight at least intriguing. Cormier highlighted that throughout combat sports history, size versus skill has always fascinated fans. From mixed martial arts to classic boxing duels, audiences love watching whether precision and technique can overcome sheer physical power. For him, while it may not be a traditional matchup, it has elements that will draw attention. It's a stark contrast. Where critics scream unfair, Cormier sees an experiment, not necessarily a bad one.
Jake Paul made it official. Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Jake Paul, guys, I'm all for fun fights. I'm all for big events. I will talk about what the fight entails. I don't think for 1 second that Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul in a boxing match is a complete mismatch on the side of Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis is that much better than Jake Paul at boxing.
While Cormier stood alone in defending the matchup, Shakur Stevenson came out swinging with harsh criticism. To Stevenson, this wasn't about curiosity. It was about legacy, or the lack of it. He ripped into Davis for even considering the fight, calling it an obvious cash grab. In his words, Davis has already established himself as one of the sport's brightest stars, but chasing YouTube-driven fights signaled a dangerous shift. Stevenson argued that boxing should be about cementing greatness, not chasing viral headlines. For him, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis wasn't skill versus size. It was money versus reputation, and Davis risked throwing away years of credibility for a quick payday. This was more than just criticism. Stevenson painted the fight as a crossroads in Davis's career. Legacy on one side, circus on the other.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's the money business thing. you want to make the most money, but from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Shakur Stevenson doubled down with sharper words. He argued that Tank Davis stepping into the ring with Jake Paul would be outright disrespectful to boxing. According to him, Tank has earned admiration and credibility, but taking a fight like this undermines everything he's built. Stevenson reminded fans that boxing isn't meant to be a sideshow. Every fight carries meaning, and wasting energy on spectacle instead of true competition damages not only Davis's career, but also the reputation of the sport. For Stevenson, this wasn't just about Tank chasing the wrong fight. It was about sending the wrong message to every aspiring fighter watching.
The rumors be taking Jake fight.
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he choose that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. And he called cap on it. So if you gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it. I think it's dangerous for him to go back in there and fight Lamont. I think Lamont is a hell of a fighter. I can see that going left. So he better be.
Eddie Hearn, one of the biggest names in boxing promotion, made his stance crystal clear. For Hearn, Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis might sell tickets and generate headlines, but it isn't real boxing. He dismissed it as pure entertainment disguised as sport. Hearn warned that the problem with such fights is confusion. Casual fans start to think these spectacles represent true competition, blurring the lines between entertainment and legitimate sporting contests. While promoters love big numbers, Hearn argued that fights like this ultimately harm boxing's identity by putting spectacle over substance.
I don't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, I think we need to really differentiate between boxing and an entertainment concept, and that's what that is. It's a freak show, it's entertainment, it's a lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, you know, with, I don't know, is it bigger gloves and certain minutes per round. I don't know what it is, but, you know, I understand the market and I understand this freak show shock kind of the world mentality of people potentially tuning in. Is that a step too far? Maybe. I mean, I hated Jake Paul against Mike Tyson.
Michael Bisping, never one to mince words, unleashed a furious rant about the matchup. The former UFC champion slammed the entire idea as disgraceful, saying it drags both boxing and combat sports down. In his view, Tank Davis is one of the pound-for-pound elites of boxing, while Jake Paul is a YouTuber with limited professional experience. Putting them in the same ring is absurd. Bisping argued this fight wasn't about testing skill. It was only about chasing pay-per-view money. He urged fans not to be fooled by the spectacle. For him, no matter how entertaining it looks, it's a money-making stunt, not a real contest.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet and then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you? That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
Bisping's passion came from concern for fighter safety. He reminded everyone why weight classes exist. Not just for fairness, but for protection. The danger of putting a small but elite fighter like Tank against someone much larger like Jake Paul, he argued, could be devastating. Boxing isn't just about who has the sharper skills. Size and weight can lead to serious injury. Bisping blasted the very idea of such a matchup, saying it prioritizes entertainment over the fighter's safety. To him, the risk wasn't worth the payday, not for Davis and not for Paul.
November 14th, and it's an exhibition bout. Of course, it's an exhibition bout because no athletic commission in their right mind will sanction this fight. There's just no way you can make this a legitimate fight because of the size advantage. Typically, this would be very, very dangerous and someone could get really hurt. If Jake Paul was to swing as hard as he could and connect and wobble him and hit him many, many times and not knock him out with the bigger gloves and the concussion possibilities and the brain rattling around inside the head and Jake Paul just teeing off at him as hard as he could.
Bisping didn't stop at safety warnings. He had a personal message for Jake Paul. According to him, Chasing fights like this doesn't build credibility, it destroys it. Fans want to respect Jake for taking on real boxers. By targeting Tank Davis, he risks undoing all the progress he's made in earning legitimacy. Bisping argued that if Jake continues picking opponents that don't make sense, he risks becoming a parody of a fighter rather than being taken seriously. For a man trying to climb into the world of professional boxing, that could be the biggest mistake of all.
What are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word: whoa, 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 stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than...
Michael Bisping's final point drove home what many critics have been saying all along. Respect in boxing isn't earned through mismatches. In his fiery breakdown, he made it clear that if Jake Paul truly wants to be taken seriously by the boxing world, he has to fight opponents who challenge him at every level. That means stepping into the ring with fighters who are equal in size, skill, and danger, not chasing bouts that look more like bullying than competition. Bisping stressed that true fighters are measured by the challenges they accept. The opponents who make you nervous, who get you out of bed early to train harder, are the ones that define a career. Fighting someone much smaller, he argued, doesn't test character, it diminishes it. To him, Jake Paul calling out Gervonta Davis is the equivalent of picking on someone at a bar who is clearly outsized. It doesn't gain admiration, it earns criticism. So where does this leave us? On November 14th, the world will watch Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis step into the ring. Some see it as a spectacle worth tuning in for. Others see it as an insult to boxing's legacy. Whether it's skill versus size, entertainment versus sport, or simply money versus reputation, this fight is impossible to ignore. One thing is clear: the debate around Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is just as big as the fight itself. Will it elevate boxing, or will it drag the sport further into the realm of circus acts? Only time will tell. If you love combat sports and want every update, reaction, and behind-the-scenes story, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. The conversation doesn't end here, and you won't want to miss what comes next.